Okay, so today we are going to learn how we can write iterative algorithms in C. So before I move to that, let me tell you what are the critical foundation concepts. Anyways, so we have checked data types and memory requirement. So let's say if it is int, it is 4 bytes. If it is character, it is 1 byte. Short, 2 bytes, so on and so forth. So you need to know when to use what data type. So we have already done that. So different operations, plus, minus, multiply. So these are different operations. So besides that, there are some other operations as well, like Boolean operations, and, or, not, XOR. And then we see how to do decision making in C, and we studied if else, switch, when to use if else, when to use switch. And then the next step is how to use iterative algorithms in C. So here we want to see the loops, for loop, while loop, and so on and so forth. So and this will be then the nested loops as well. And so then we will be teaching about arrays, how to store similar items more efficiently. So we'll talk about 1D array, 2D array, 3D array. Then important topic about pointers, how to reuse code. We'll teach you how to write functions, how to access files on directories. So we need to know file handling. And then how to create your own data types. So these are the different topics that we intend to cover, and so we have covered until here. And now we are going to, in this lecture, we will be more talking about iterative algorithms and C. All right. So before that, let's say I have to print 5 numbers. Int man. How I'm going to print it? Int number 1. So I will ask the user to do so enter number scanf num1 address of likewise I have to use number 2 enter so on so forth. So you need to repeat it. Let's say I have to do it 100 times. So let's say 100 numbers. So I have to repeat the above code 100 times with 100 separate variables. So instead of how to optimize this, instead of writing the same code again and again for 100 numbers. So here comes loops. Okay, so we are going to tell you the introductory loops, types of loops in C, and then the for loop, while loop, and so 3 types of loops. And we will be discussing when to use what, and then there are certain loop control statements. So you want to change the behavior of the loop, so when to use break, continue, and go to. Okay. So loops in programming are used to repeat a block of code until the specified condition is met. We'll see shortly. A loop statement allows programmer to execute a statement group of statements multiple times without repetition of code. So this is what exactly we wanted to have it. So let's see, this is an example, again very basic example. So let's say you have to print the hello world 10 times. So instead of repeating the code, it's very boring, very cumbersome, and very repetitive, you see. So instead of doing it this way, it's much better ways to use loops. So for loop, for int I is equal to 1, I is less than equal to 10, I plus plus, so just write it only once. So this code will be run in the loop 10 times. Okay. So there are primarily 2 types of loops in C programming. Actually, it's 3 types. So, sorry. So it's here we're talking about types of loops. So by types, so it means something different. So I mean there are three loops in C available to you, but they'll fall into two different categories. So let's say entry control loops. In entry control loops, the condition is evaluated before the loop body is executed. So if the condition is true, the loop body runs. If false, it skips the body. Both the for loop and while loop are entry control loops. So we will see it shortly. And then this is one is the entry control loop and the other one is the exit control loops. So instead of checking the loop condition in the beginning, you check it at the end. So that's the do while loop. Just highlight over here. Do while loop and for loop and while loop, they are into the entry control loop. So we'll see in detail what we mean by that. So these are types of loops: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. So the for loop is typically used when the number of iterations is known in advance. This is really important. So you need to check when the number of iterations is known in advance. Let's say I have to add 10 numbers, I have to add 100 numbers, or so for these kind of operations, you have to use for loop. So it's an entry control loop. What does that mean? The condition is checked before entering the loop. Okay. So this is something very important, and this is something you need to know as well. So let's say, so I'm going to write down the loop as well. For I is equal to 1, I is less than equal to 10, I plus plus, and there was this thing, print f hello world. All right. Okay, so let's see what is happening over here. So we have this initialization expression. So this is the first part. So you need to initialize your loop variable. Let's say for I is equal to 1, or I is equal to 0, or I is equal to 2, whatever. In this case, we are going to write down, you have to print hello world 10 times. So we just have to keep track of the loop variable from I is equal to 1 by I is equal to 10. Okay. So the very first thing is you need to initialize the loop. Then you need to, before entering the loop, what you do, let's say in this case you initialize the loop with y is equal to 1. Then you check with the test expression. So this is the second thing you do for whether the loop variable is less than your loop terminating condition. So let's say I is less than equal to 10. Only then, if this condition is true, then only you will go here and perform the loop body. Okay. So this is the loop body, and this is your third thing that will be executed. Then once the loop body gets executed, you come back and then you check the update expression. So in this case, the update expression is this one, I plus plus. But it could be anything. I plus is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. I mean, it depends on you how you want to increment your loop. So you update your expression, and then you check the test expression again. This will be your fifth, and this will be your sixth, then 7, then 8, then 9. So these are the steps that you need to use for executing the loop. So this is the same thing that I have already explained to you. So this is executed only once. So execute it only once. So this condition is checked before each iteration of the loop. If the condition evaluates to true, the loop body executes. If false, the loop terminates. So this is why it's called entry controlled loop. So you're controlling the entry into the loop using this expression. So if it is true, then only it will execute the body. And then once the body gets executed, it will update the update condition, and then it will check the loop body again. So this is really important. So like I told you before, so this is the first step. You initialize the loop expression outside of, this will be only once, and then you test the condition. Only the condition is true. Second one, then you go to execute the loop body, then you update the loop expression. So this is, let's say I is equal to 1, and this is test condition is I is less than equal to 10. You execute the body. This is like printf hello world, and update expression is I plus plus. And then you start repeating the whole process again. So you see I is equal to 1, test condition, I is less than 10, okay, good, printf hello world, then I plus plus, I will be equal to 2, test condition, I is less than equal to still 10, you go hello world, then do an update of the expression, then so on and so forth. So once the value gets equal to 11, then the test condition will be false and the loop will end. Okay, so this is how it will use the loop to generate the output 10 times, print hello world 10 times. So I'm sure you'll be able to do it. Okay. So here we will be having a quiz. So let's say you want to print this series. Take n as input user. and you need to print this series using the for loop. You need to think about this. Alright, so we are done with the for loop. Now we move to the while loop. Okay, so in the while loop, situation is a bit different. So you have a while and then you put a test condition here. And what do you think, where we will have the initialization condition? So initialization will be done here. And so this is 1. And this is still an entry control loop, so this will be 2. Only when the condition will be true, it will be run. Then the body of while loop. So you execute it, and then at the end of the body here, you will be having a loop update. Okay. So let's see. So here you can see your while loop starts. So first of all, you test the condition. So here there will be some loop initialization. You test the condition. If the condition is true, you execute the loop body, and within the loop body here, you will have update loop variable condition. So you update the loop variable, and then you test the condition again, and so on and so forth. So this is how it is done. So let me just write the same code that we did to print hello world 10 times. Now we are going to do it with while loop. So you can see here, so here's the loop initialization. So this is the loop test condition, and here is the loop update condition. Now you might have asked when to use what. So when number of iterations are known, use for loop. Use for loop. When number of iterations are not known, use while loop. So let me tell you how. So let's say, so I think for loop is okay, but let's say while loop. So you want to write, might be it could be an infinite loop. I don't know, I mean, how long you do. Let's say there's an example that you are enter the character. So let's say you are playing a game and you are want to of course we have to specify the character over here, and we're getting the input from the user, so it can play the game again and again. So might be some game that he or she is playing, and then we can check. We don't know, I mean, how long it will play, but we can check if the user presses X, So we want to break it. So this is something you cannot do with for loop. So you have to use a while loop. So if you don't know the loop condition before, so it's better to use while loop. Okay, so then the last I think is the do while loop. So the do while loop in C is an exit control loop. It means, what does it mean? It means that the condition is checked at the end. Okay, so the body of the loop is executed at least once. So regardless of the condition. Useful when you want to ensure the body loop runs at least once even if the condition is initially false. So let's say you want to, it's the same thing that you really want to run the game that some playing, so you just want to let them play and then at the end you check whether you want to really continue playing or you want to discontinue, so you can check the condition, the character value again at the end. So like we did before, so you do while, so play game whatever, and then at the end might be you can say enter character scanner and while ch is not equal to x. So if the character is not equal to x, then you want to carry on the loop, otherwise you just terminate the loop, so the value will be checked at the end. So this is the syntax for do while loop. Just note down the semicolon at the end, and if you see the flow chart of this one, so you execute the body once and then you test the condition. If it is true, then you keep executing the body. So you can see here. So we're writing the same code. We do while loop. So you print a hello world at least once. So here, let's say if it is I is equal to 100, so it will at least print hello world once, although the loop condition is false. So I plus is equal to 100, so at least only once it will be executed. Okay, any questions so far? Might be, if you have any questions, so you can ask from the instructors. So summary so far. So two types of loops: entry controlled and exit control. So within entry control you have for and while, and then exit control you have do while. Okay, so when to use for? Number of iterations are known. When to use while? Number of iterations are not known. priori. And what about do while? If you have to run loop at least once. Okay. So now, okay. So let's say you're in the loop, and if some conditions pop ups, and you want to, um, so you want to control the behavior of the loop. Okay. So let's say controlling loop behavior. Okay. How we can control the loop behavior? Let's say for and I is equal to 1, I is less than equal to 10, I plus plus. And hello. Let's say I want to there is one scenario that I want, instead of printing hello world 5 times, I just want to print it 10 times, I just want to print it 5 times. Okay. So for I is equal to 1, I is less than equal to 10, I plus plus. So let's say it will be I want to print, so there is scenario 1, I just want to print hello world 5 times. So I is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I just want to print hello world 5 times. So what I'm going to do, I will say if I is equal to 6, break. Okay. So this loop will get executed, but as soon as the loop variable reaches 6, so we don't want to print hello world, we just want to get out of the loop. So this is one of the scenarios. So you just have to print the loop up to 5 times, and then you want to exit it. Okay. What about scenario 2? So let's say I want to only print let's say I want to only print it okay, sorry, maybe we can take some other example, not this one, because this is something and it won't be much beneficial. So controlling loop behavior. So taking some other relevant example. So let's see, for int I is equal to 1, I is less than equal to 10, I plus plus. And I want to print the number. So number is equal to percentage d and I. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print the values 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth to 10. Okay. Now there are two scenarios. Scenario 1, I just want to print it from 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And scenario 2, I might want to print 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. So these are two scenarios. Let's just see how we are going to handle scenario 1. So we don't want to print beyond 5. So what we can do, if I is equal to 6, we can say break. So get out of the loop. So this is scenario 1. Okay, so if you have already understood scenario 1, so I'm just omitting it. And likewise for scenario 2, what I'm saying is I don't want to print the number 2, 4. So what I can do, if so I don't want to print the even number. So if remainder 2 is equal to 0, the even numbers, just continue. So what does it do? If it is a even number, it doesn't execute. So this will not be executed. The body will not be executed. So what will happen, that after the continue, it will go back. So this will not be executed. Okay. So this is the difference between break and continue. Okay. So loop control statements. Loop control statements in C are used to change execution from its normal sequence. So they help in exiting the loop prematurely, skipping certain iterations, controlling the loop execution based on conditions. So I've already told you break and continue, and then there is a go to as well, but it's not used frequently. So break is used to exit the loop prematurely. Loop terminates immediately, and it will move to the next statement after the loop. So let's say I just want to print 1, 2, 4. If I is equal to 5, just break it. Likewise. So continue you to skip the current iteration of the loop, so loop body won't be executed, and you just jump to the next iteration. Okay. So you can see over here. So if you don't want to print 3 and you want to print the other thing, so if I is equal to 3, you just continue. You go here back, and it won't execute this one. The last thing that you need to know, the go to statement. So go to is used to jump to a label statement in the code. While it can be used to control it, is generally not recommended due to making code harder to follow. So I won't recommend you to use, but you need to know what go to is used for. So let's say if I is equal to 1, print percentage I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I is less than equal to 5, you can just say go to label, so it will go to here again, start executing the code again. So this is another way to write a loop, but this is not recommended. So you can use, so what do you use? Use for while, do while, instead of this one. Okay. So we are done.